Boy Scouts Perversion Files list 7,800 suspected pedophiles. Attorney. Some headlines are just written in the weirdest way. Oh, let's see. Confidential files on suspected pedophiles maintained by the Boy Scouts of America contain the names of 7,800 individuals, an attorney for child sex abuse victims said on Tuesday. The organization's so-called Perversion Files have been previously disclosed through litigation, but the number of alleged abusers had not been known. Attorney Jeff Anderson, who represents former Scouts who say they were sexually abused, said Tuesday. Anderson said a child abuse expert hired by the Scouts revealed the staggering number during a testimony in a lawsuit in January. The alarming thing about this is not just the number, but the fact that the Boy Scouts of America has never actually released their names in any form that can be known to the public, said the Manhattan News Conference. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just wanted to give you an idea of what this is starting out to be. Hello, and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel, where the party is just getting started. Current events looked at through a skeptical eye using science, history, and sometimes humor to explore the events of the day. Let's get down to business. What I want to show you is, I'm going to go real slow. Anderson said the files, also containing the names of more than 12,000 suspected victims, according to the Scouts expert. Yet there's just, whenever there's a story like this that talks about Boy Scouts, talks about the Catholic Church sex scandals, or if you do the scandals that related to the football coach at that one college a few years back. It's the same situation where the coach of that college football team was allowing the younger male players to be diddled, or far worse, however you want to put it, by the coaches. But what you never ever see in any of those stories is that it's male on male. And you know, there's a word in English for male on male relations of this nature. And you never, ever, ever see it mentioned in these stories. That's weird. I was reading yesterday that Clinton, the female version, and Obama, the male version, when they were when they tweeted about the situation in Sri Lanka on Easter Sunday, that they said the Easter worshippers instead of Christians. And that was just such a strange choice of words, because how many people have ever heard the term Easter worshippers? It's just, if it exists, it's not in wide-scale use by any stretch of the imagination. And yet, female Clinton and male Obama knew to use that exact same term in the attacks, as compared to the standard Christians were blown to smithereens, and the media really just doesn't care. But I already made that video. So, again, when you read stories about this, about the Boy Scouts, when you read stories about the Catholic Church and the scandals there, and you read examples of coaches and everything, over and over and over again, if it isn't 100% male on male, it's 80 to 90%, because I looked up the one on the Catholic Church, and it was 75 to 80% were male on male. There's a name for that. And if you don't like that name, then I guess all you have to do to not be called that name is to mess with little children. Because once you mess with little children of the same gender, guess what? That word in English, and I'm not using it because it's on YouTube and I don't want to get any more trouble than I already am, because we do not have free speech on YouTube. We do not have free speech on Twitter. We do not have free speech in America. Okay, but if you don't want to be called that name, if you don't want to be thought of as, you know, the G word or the H word, diddling children, bam, you will never be called it. It's nowhere in any of these articles, and it's nowhere in any of the articles in regard to the Catholic Church or the football teams or anything. So why does it matter? It matters because it's a conscious effort to not use that word. it is a conscious effort by every one of these writers to never, ever, ever use the G word or the H word. And that's why it matters. Because if it didn't matter, then they would use it. But there was a saying before they abandoned it in the press, which is, fishermen go to water to catch fish. And men who want to be with little boys are going to go where the little boys are. And when you want to get money, then you rob banks. Because there's that old saying, it's like, why did you rob so many banks? And he said, because that's where the money is. Well, why do these men keep going where these little boys are? Because that's where the little boys are. But you will not ever hear them use the G word or the H word. And I'm not even allowed to say it because of censorship in America and overseas. So anyways, there's that video. We'll see you in the future.